This is episode number 33 with Texas Cowgirl Sadie Lynn King, the founder and CEO of Calamity Media. Hey y'all, and welcome. You're listening to the Cowgirl Confessions podcast. I'm your host, Dakota Dawn Johnson, small-town cowgirl with southern roots, blazing a trail as a Midwest ranch wife, mama, and businesswoman. The mission of Cowgirl Confessions is to share the wonderfully wild and western life stories of cowgirls from all walks of life. We'll talk about the highs, the lows, and everything in between when it comes to navigating careers, cowboys, kids, and cattle. Legendary cowgirl Dale Evans said it best. Cowgirl is a pioneer spirit, a special brand of American courage. The cowgirl faces life head-on, lives by her own lights, and makes no excuses. Cowgirls take stands. They speak up. They defend the things they hold dear. A cowgirl might be a rancher, a barrel racer, a bull rider, or an actress, but she's just as likely to be a checker at the local Winn-Dixie, a full-time mother, a banker, an attorney, or an astronaut. If you're into wet saddle blankets, talks with God, buckets full of laughter, and the life lessons learned in the process, kick off your boots and settle in. I pray these stories encourage, empower, and give you just the leg up you need. Here's to embracing the cowgirl state of mind, no matter how wild and western life may get along the way. Y'all, I'm just so excited to finally have today's guest with us. She is the founder, CEO, and president of Calamity Media, a ranch manager of Kingstring Buckin Bulls alongside her husband Jake, a horse trainer, specialty act performer, and a future mama to be. Y'all, I have the one and only Sadie Lynn King here with us today. Sadie, thanks for joining us.
Man, thanks for having me. It's like you said, it's about that time. We've been counting down the weeks.
Oh, girl, I know. What is your due date?
August 2nd.
August 2nd. Okay, mine's yes. July 31st. So, I mean, we are going to be right there.
Yes. I thought that was pretty funny. I couldn't believe it too. When I saw your post, I'm like, no way. We have done a lot of things alike in our lives, but we just continue to follow each other's footsteps.
That's
and
right.
I wouldn't want to have a baby around the same day than anybody else in my Dakota. That's it. We are going to do it together.
That's right. I'm thinking like arranged marriage already, you know?
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
I'm so excited, for you and Jake and just y'all stepping into this, these roles as, new parents. And it's going to be just a wonderful, wonderful adventure. And I feel like these years of rodeo and travel, they prepare you for getting by on very little sleep, because that's pretty much what life's going to look like, for the foreseeable future. So
that is so true. Everybody's like, oh, you just wait. And I'm like, what? I've been getting little to no sleep for a long time and working all ends of the day. What's just putting a little baby in a papoose and keep going on with it?
That's right.
I'm ready for it. I have been training, but yes. So excited to just be able to have the opportunity to not only raise a child, but to raise our child in the lifestyle that we live. And just, I'm just so anxious and biting at my fingernails constantly, because I'm just so ready to just raise this girl up to be a cowgirl, and not only just to be a cowgirl, but just to live this life and just know what the characteristics of what it means. And I've already got a Roman riding set of horses prepared for her. I'm like, I got all the things. I'm probably the worst person to have out there as a mom. They're like, I'm just going to be like, I'm not going to strap her to a sheep. I'm just going to put her on a Roman riding team. I think that's a little more sane, I guess. I don't know.
Oh yeah. I mean, like you know how to make those scenarios safe. And I think what you just described, Sadie, in our world right now is there's a lot of good out there, but it's in a mess. That's just a kind of the short version from my point of view. And so it makes me so thankful to have grown up, in this Western lifestyle and industry.
And it makes me just grateful to have the opportunity to raise our kids and really want to be able to share it with more people, because whether folks grew up in it or not, like you and I did, there's room for people to be a part of it in so many capacities. And I just think overall, like, the world would be a better place, if we had, more cowboys, more cowgirls, more people that really understood the fundamental values of our lifestyle.
Oh, for sure. And that's some things I've been doing these past couple of years, is reaching out to some local kids. And in the town that I live in now, I live an hour north of Houston in a little town called Pumpkin, Texas. It's in between New Waverly and Cold Spring, and you just got to know where we're at, because we're out in the middle of nowhere. But it's been so rewarding just to see some of these kids that may have grown up trail riding their whole life, or rodeoing, or just living in a country town, to put their work ethic into pulling weeds off the fence, or just coming outside and just watching some of the guys dove hunt, or this and that. It's a lifestyle that can't be duplicated, but it's also a lifestyle that can continue to grow. And I think that's been, well, as you said earlier, that's why I started my media production company, is because I feel like for so long we've reached out to a certain demographic, just cowboys and cowgirls, and there's so many kids that are yearning to know more about the Western way of life, or yearning for responsibility more than just a goldfish. And it's been really, really cool to see some of these kids not only grow and turn into more of a cowboy or cowgirl, or just grow and know how to take care of a living, breathing animal, and just have that focus on continuing to bring up another life, and to have more of a responsibility than just get up, go to school, or go to work and come home and be exhausted. I think coming out and even just feeding your animals is such a pastime that I miss when I am on the road and I can't come at home and feed all my stuff, because it's kind of your time not only to relax and pay attention to your animals, how they're eating, how they're walking, but also just to talk to God and just thank him for the things that he's given us. And like I said, being able to raise my kids like this it's so exciting isn't even the word. It's just overwhelming, because it's just, it just makes me so happy, and you're the same way with your son, I'm sure. And then your new baby. And it's just, I don't know, God has been so good to me. And the times that I hated pulling into the house at 3-4 in the morning, feeding on my horses to get up at 7 and go work a job in town, all those nights have totally, it's all worth it to me now, looking back and showing, that I have more of a work ethic in my life, and more of a follow through and a dedication to the things that I do. So that's why my media company has been so important, is just kind of reaching out to people who haven't had the opportunity to even know what a horse was, or what the feet of the horse, or how to put a saddle on correctly, to open it up and really expand our industry.
I love what you're doing. And again, so great what you're doing, how y'all been getting involved with people in your local community, sharing this lifestyle with them. And it kind of brings me to my next question, Sadie. I mean, you've grown up in the Western community, but within the Western community, you've had some pretty cool experiences. And so can you share with us what that was like growing up, being a trick rider, a performer, and so many, other things along the way?
Well, that's a lot of stuff to talk about. And to narrow it down, I'll do my best. But I guess it's the same thing as what I said before, though. And by being able to trick ride and roam and ride with my family, out of all things, it was such a blessing for me. And we got to travel so many places, so many states, countries, we did the openings for the 2008 Olympics in Stockholm, Sweden. that was amazing. Just meeting new people with the same, horse passion as we had. Just incredible. I don't know. It's just so many things that we've been able to do, to people we've got to meet. The radio, as good as I do, the radio stations at 5 a.m. and the people you meet. Sometimes it's, there's definitely been some God talks that you have at 5:30 in the morning, drinking a terrible cup of coffee with somebody you don't know, but you end up leaving that radio station just having such a friendship and a relationship and a bond with that person from this random town in Baker, Florida, or California. And it's been fun, because trick riding has always been my passion, and Roman riding, and just being a specialty act performer and taking care of my animals. We rescued a bunch, so during the day I got to showcase my animals, which made me an amazing living, and they continue to, and get to reach out to some of those kids, or even 9 to 99. I've met so many people of all ages who I've bonded with just on the single love of an animal, and it's funny because my sisters get on to me a lot, because like for our wedding reception and stuff, they're like, Sadie, you can't invite that many people. I'm like, no, invite it to everybody. It's open to everyone. Anyone, come on. And that's just, and my husband's the same way. So it's just opened up my heart to so many people, being able to, go to the Rose Bowl parade. And we went, I think 9 or 10 times, and just an accomplishment to just see not ourselves on camera, but to see our animals, come from a rescued place in their life to be showcased on television. And it's really just, like I said, it's just rewarding, the things that we've been able to do, the long drives we've had to do, but man, just the opportunities that have come along with it. It's been amazing.
Well, and your hard work and dedication, to make those things happen, your entire family, it's opened the doors and offered opportunities to people like me, that who I never in a million years thought that I would get the opportunity to try my hand at Roman riding, or low key, I'm not even gonna call it trick riding, because the horse was like walking and you were leading it, but you gave me opportunities, and through that we forged a friendship. And I won't ever forget you being like, you're not like all them other rodeo queens. And I thought, that's the best dang compliment I could have ever gotten. Because and I fully support, there are so many incredible women out there that are rodeo queens and great ambassadors for the sport. But just like any crowd, you've got a few of them that you feel like, man, they just don't really set the bar that high. They don't make a great name for us. And I thought, when I pulled up to y'all's place in Texas for the first time, because a friend of a friend said, basically, hey, let this girl come hang out with you. And we were filming stuff for RFD-TV for your TV show. And
Right.
I wasn't real sure. I was like, gosh, I hope they know I'm here to work. I'll do good for them, and y'all were all just so welcoming, so kind. And, but hey, I mean, I had a pitchfork in my hand that evening. I was helping clean stalls. I was helping feed, I just fell on in there with you. And I think that's, I have no doubt that's what you've been doing with any of the people that want to come out and learn more about this lifestyle. Is you can talk till you're blue in the face, but when you give somebody the opportunity to just do it, that's when it's gonna sink in.
Oh, for sure. I tell you that, and it's the reason why I said you're not like everybody else is there are a lot of my girlfriends that I've made, gosh, they've grown into friendships like ours over the years. And some of our best days was out there picking stalls together in the morning, and you really get to learn about someone and their life when they're sweating right beside you, or cold, depending on what state you're in at the time, with a pitchfork in their hand, cleaning out some horse poop.
Oh, hey, but let me tell you, I have never looked as glamorous cleaning stalls as I did when I came to y'all's house, because you and your mom, y'all taught me. I thought I knew about big hair. I didn't know nothing about big hair. Y'all taught me how to tease my hair. And I mean, like, higher the hair, the closer to God, you know? So I
That's
picked
right.
that up. I mean, you really instilled that in me. And I don't know that I've looked that good since then cleaning stalls, to be completely honest.
I don't know if that's a curse or a blessing, but I'll let you take it how you want. It was in back then, okay?
It was.
It was in.
It was in. Oh.
No, when you put a hat down, you got to make sure when you take it off, your hair's still there, you know?
Oh,
You
yeah.
got to make sure it's still there.
Oh my goodness, Sadie. So many great memories. And now you mentioned earlier that you know, one of the many things that you got to do was go to Sweden. Tell us about that. Tell us what it was like, you know, getting horses there and preparing for that type of event.
Well, my mother is a saint, just to start off. She's taken on a lot of cowgirl chicks and a lot of girls and a lot of horses and trailers and all of it. And she got the call from, I'm not exactly sure, I think it was the ambassador of Stockholm, Sweden. He had called and he said, hey, we need a group of girls. And my mom said, you know, okay, which she said okay to anything. She was just excited to hit the road. And as were we, you know, so she came into the room and she was like, hey guys, you know, we're going to go to Sweden. And I'm like, what? Come on. And she's like, no, really, we're going. And I'm like, Mom, what are you talking about? Well, anyways, I kind of thought it was a joke at first, and it definitely was not. And it was, oh my gosh, one of my favorite trips I've ever taken in my life. We spent I believe 10 days while we were over there, and every day was just so awesome. But yes, we did take well, okay, sorry, I can get to in my story sometimes. I get so excited.
You're good. Keep going.
So Mom, you know, of course, starts negotiating with the gentleman about, you know, how much it's going to cost for us to come over there. And if we have to train certain horses, you know, we're going to have to come up at least 30 to 60 days ahead of time, which will mess up our pro rodeo schedule we had already had set in stone. You know, you set your rodeo schedules sometimes 2 years in advance, depending on the rodeo. So, you know, and that's officially our lifeline and how we do make our money every week. So it was like, you know, you can't bite the hand that feeds you by any means. And they understood, and they said, well, how about this? Instead of you riding some of our horses, how about we bring some horses of yours over? And Mom's like, oh my gosh, okay, well, we can work on that. But that's also scary, taking your own animals that you use every week, you know, the jet lag and the different diseases overseas, that there's just, oh my gosh, a toss up of so much things that could happen. So Mom just kind of stood out on her faith on that point. And she goes, well, how many can you let us send? And they said, well, it's going to cost, I think it was like $13,000 to $15,000 a horse.
Wow.
And they sent 4 over there of our own. And I think that was just one way. And I mean, my mom, she goes, if y'all are willing, we're ready. And I said, Mom, are you serious? She goes, yeah, you girls deserve it. And she did. She had a go-getter attitude, and as she still does. And I'm telling you what, the preparation was nonstop which it was every day anyways, but we really tightened up our acts because there was 6 or 7 trick riders that were going to have to trick ride on 4 horses. And, you know, I'm not sure if you've had to jump off of your best roping horse one day and jump onto another one in a different saddle. And it's not easy, much less trick riding on one horse to another. And sure enough, we did it. And we pulled it off. One girl was jumping off while the other girl was jumping on, and the horse was rolling. And my little sister, I think, was 8 years old, Hattie. And gosh, it was so incredible. So we went to this place. It's called the Globe and Arena, and it's literally a globe. Like you're looking at, like at Christmas time, you shake the little snow globes. Mm-hmm. There are people all around you. There are Olympic level horses walking around, polo guys. I mean, horseball. I learned about so many more Olympic events that are going on, jumping horses. I mean, it was just an incredible experience to see some amazing horses and bloodlines and just athletes. Anyways, so yeah, they shipped our horses over there. Actually, my horses have been to more countries than I have. They have more stamps on their passport because they had to be shipped from Oklahoma City, trucked down to Georgia, and then flown from Georgia to Amsterdam. And then they got on a trailer and they had to be trucked the rest of the way in and checked every so many miles and all this stuff. But so they had less jet lag than us girls did, I'll tell you that much.
Oh,
but what gracious. Yes, it was a crazy experience, but totally worth it. And just to be the opening act over there was so awesome, because just to be at that level of horsemanship was just awesome. And being so young, I think I was 16, just turned 17. And man, it was definitely a humbling experience. And then the very last day, they had presented us a bunch of chocolates and flowers, and they sat us in the middle of the arena. They really highlighted, you know, our animals, and it was awesome. And every girl that was there, it was totally deserving, because we had all worked our rear ends off. And as soon as we got home from that, we went to the Rose Bowl parade. So our horses didn't even slow down. I mean, and us girls were exhausted, but man, what a worth it reason to be exhausted. And it was awesome.
Oh, absolutely. Just, gosh, gives me goosebumps just thinking about every single kind of detail leading up to it. And then, like you said, just the stepping out on faith and sending your horses out there. And just such a unique experience. I'm so glad that all of you got to do that. And
and even shipping your trick saddles, you know, I mean, we were shipping everything on faith. It just that it would even come back, because you're having to sign insurance policies that you're really not prepared for. And like I said, you have to leave as soon as you come back and travel to the next rodeo and hope you have all your, you know, your whole rigging bag. And it was a lot of having to just be faithful and just be faithful and thankful, grateful, all of it, because it was, and also, and I forgot, our horses hadn't been underneath spotlight a lot at that time. So we were going down to Cowtown Coliseum or just anywhere we could get our horses under spotlights and rehearsing as much as we could. So horses were flawless. They did ask us to put helmets on, and we had to deny that request. That was the only request we denied. Well, we were a little nervous to get our chin straps stuck on the trick saddles.
Now, Sadie, one of the things, I think we should back up, because I don't even necessarily know this part of the story. That your group, you know, the All-American Cowgirl Chicks. So let's talk a little bit about kind of how that started, and then how it grew to where you actually had, I mean, your own TV series. I mean, it was a top show for 16 seasons on RFD-TV featuring you guys.
It was a lot of work as well, which I think that's anything you do in life. And when you do have the passion for it, it doesn't really become work. It's just your daily life. So the Cowgirl Chicks were actually started, oh man, I was so young. I was probably, I can't even tell you, 5 or 6 maybe. And my mom, her horseshoer son was diagnosed with a rare form of jaw cancer. We were about the same age. I think he was a year younger than me, maybe 2, but his name was Ty Washburn. And we've been good friends since we were little, and because of our parents. And his mom was a great horseshoer in our area, and they didn't have insurance to pay for what was going on with Ty. And my mom, she's, like I said, the go-getter she is, she just said, well, you know, I've got, my girls love to ride horses. Let's just go run some flags and put them together and play around, and not play around, but, you know, bring the girls together any donations that we do receive, we'll give back to you and your family for just medical expenses or groceries, whatever you need.
Mm-hmm.
And golly, that turned into, we fell in love with the trick riders at the Fort Worth Stock Show, which grew to meeting J.W. Stoker. But prior to that, after Ty, there were so many other people in our community in Weatherford, Texas, that had reached out and said, hey, they were going through some cancer issues or needed help with medical bills, and donations started coming in at those rodeos. We didn't go for any money. We would just show up and put together a cool little opening drill. It actually started as a drill team. And like I said, then we rolled it on to trick riding later, but it was just an accumulation of people that reached out and needed help. And so it just grew into the All-American. We were the Weatherford Cowgirl Chicks. And my mom, she's a patriot. She is so patriotic. She loves her country. And they were all saying, well, y'all need to match your clothes and you need to be this and that. And so mom said, I'm not going to do turquoise and brown. It's going to go out of style in a few years. We're going to stay red, white, and blue. And we did. And we changed our name to All American Cowgirl Chicks. And then we started, we got our PRCA card. We rolled on to rodeo after rodeo and grew to where not only we were taking in our rescue horses, we were taking in almost rescue girls to just do something with their life. Instead of getting in trouble at school, they could come work on the ranch, be on the road, do something productive with their life, run a flag, learn how to trick ride, be a part of J.W. Stoker, who was our trick riding coach. I mean, and after expenses were paid, we started donating more and more money to more individual families. And Susan G. Komen, golly, I could go on and on and on with how much we've donated back. And it's been, so my mom taught us responsibility, but she also taught us to give back. We do things for other people. We don't do them for the benefit of how we look. It was about taking care of the people around us. And that grew into the specialty act that we were and continue to do. But what a reason to ride. And then for our country, it developed, our cancer research. We were donating back to cancer research, families. And then since we were red, white, and blue, some military families started reaching out, and they were floored with what we were doing for the cancer families that had been struck, with just different problems. And they started donating their families' military fatigues that had lost their lives in Afghanistan or World War II. I mean, it goes back to so long. They had Medal of Honors or fatigues that were given to them from, their squadron or wherever. And instead of putting it in their house in a box, they wanted it to be showcased on the arena floor. And so that's when I started wearing, and myself and the other girls started wearing military fatigues. They were never bought, they were donated. And it was just like God continued to show us more people we could connect to. Don't limit yourself to just going out there and riding for the brand. It was out there riding for, people in the stands at that local show that they would show up to see their son's fatigue on a trick rider that was going around the arena carrying the American flag. And just what a feeling that gave myself just to put on that fatigue too. It was very emotional. It changed my way of life, changed my way I looked at a lot of things, made me understand a little more at a young age on, how life really is, how it really is a gift from God to just continue to be better for not just yourself, but the people around you, to be an example in life, love, and purity, and not just with your mouth, with your actions. And mom taught us that. And gosh, like I said, she's brought in so many young women who have come in with, problems from addictions to drugs, addictions to just fighting, you know what I mean? Or just upset because their parents were divorced, or it could be anything. You know, they had a bad car wreck and it took them down a road that they really weren't happy on. And that developed with Patrick Gotch. The owner of RFD, he reached out to us, and man, he put our story on a platform that we couldn't reach. You know what I mean? He saw what my mom was doing with the Cowgirl Chicks, and he wanted to reach more people. He wanted to reach more cowgirls and let them know they had a second chance. You know, no matter what came to them in life, you know, there were other people out there with worse problems than what we had, and just showcase that in the production value that we couldn't touch at that time. You know, he did give us that platform to do and just to lean on, and having the 16 seasons was a huge accomplishment. But it gave us a time to really give back to our stock contractors like you, our rodeo queens, to showcase, you know, not only the good works that we were doing within our own company and donations, but to the kids on the outside of the televisions that needed something to watch. No offense to the Kardashians, other than keeping up with the Kardashians, you know, showing them that, hey, you may not be a good bronc rider or bull rider or roper or barrel racer, but there's judging opportunities. There's nutritionists in the industry. There's sound men. There's so many other things that we can open up our industry to. And RFD-TV definitely helped us with that, and connecting our lives to their lives. And it all started with the Ride for Ty, and my mom's idea of just, you know, stepping out and saying, all right, let's do it. And like, we had the money to do it. Heck no, you know, we didn't have the time or money to add that to our plates, but it became our job, which I would really honestly never consider it a job. It was, man, it was a dream, and it still is. And like I said, and that's where I rolled into my media side of it, is because I realized how many people we were missing by just showing up to those rodeos and saddling your horse, riding it, going back to the trailers and unsaddling it. It was the autographs before and after. It was connecting with those young girls and guys that, you know, maybe had a hard time at school that day, but you sitting talking to them and smiling, it meant a lot more to them than just a picture and your name on a piece of paper. It definitely, like I said, it matured me at a young age and made me realize, you know, the cost of living with some people. You know, they were really struggling in their own homes about, you know, how they were going to pay their next bill because their daughter was diagnosed with the rare form of cancer, or their son just passed from serving our country overseas. And it really, really opened my mind to a lot of things. And I got to thank God for that.
Just so incredible. You know, all the life lessons you were able to take from that, and just the impact that, you know, you had them, but continue to have, and, you know, just really creating a legacy there, Sadie, you and your entire family. And you know, when we first met, I remember thinking it was like, and I still think it's ultimately cool. I'm not going to act like it's in a past tense. It's still ultimately cool that you had just been featured on Project Runway. And like, we watched the episode, you know, I think this is like like, you know, you're showing me how to tease my hair, and we're watching this episode, you know, and
oh my gosh.
I mean, I just have the fondest memories of that. And I mean, you've been on multiple, you know, TV shows, the Project Runway. Then you were also on a couple of Bobby Flay's shows. And I would love to know kind of what are the top maybe 2 or 3 things that you feel like you took from that experience, and have been able to really, you know, grow this media production company, because it takes a really special skill set to do what you're doing.
Well, gotta actually put my grandparents in this one, because my grandma and grandpa, they always supported us in everything that we've done. And even when it was a wild idea, like going to Stockholm, Sweden, you know what I mean? Just small things. They were right there to buy the first plane ticket or the first gallon of fuel in their RV, and they'd show up. And they taught me to live life accordingly to the choices that you make, but be happy with the choices that you make. And with seeing the production side, it sparked a light in my soul that I was like, man, it wasn't about the TV side of it. It was about learning that, you know, these people that were coming to our homes, like for the Project Runway show, for example, they showed up to the house and they tried to put dirt in my hair and leaves, you know, like I was this redneck girl from Weatherford, which honestly I was, you know, I didn't need the extra dirt because it was probably already there if you look close enough, and you caught me at the beginning of the day when I'm my most cleanest. But I learned really fast to continue to be myself through all things, and to not conform to the world, to not conform to how other people, you know, perceived you. And, you know, and I looked at them and they said, can you fall off your horse for me? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's easy. You know, I just jumped off my horse and kind of ran and tripped myself and fell. And they were like, yeah, you're kind of sweating, roll around in the dirt. And I just kind of looked up and I'm like, no, you know, that's not how it works. But they, you know, like I said, my grandparents are like, just don't quit being yourself. You're Sadie. And they broke the mold. And there's just not another one like you. And they continue to tell me that today. And I don't know if that's a blessing or a curse either, but I continue to look at it as a blessing.
It's a blessing.
But it taught me to be myself, not filter my life, not filter my face, just to show people who I was. And it, like I said, it grew into this mindset I had to educate people and to help them understand that, you know, you don't have to have the extra dirt to prove a point, or you don't have to go out there and do 5 more stalls than my sisters to let them know I was better than them. It was about following through, being in order, having a set goal, and to do your best at that goal, you know, and that's what I want to continue to do that with my media side of it, is to not create anything different than what's already there, but to bring out what's there. And Charlie Throckmorton is a big part of that too in my life. He's a rodeo announcer, and I know it's kind of a random thing to say, but it really isn't, because when I would go in there to those shows, Charlie would tell me to slow down. He says, slow down, Sadie. You have a great act. He said, let the crowd connect to your act. And that carried on with me to the Project Runway show, is, you know, I am who I am. Don't rush the process. Let them figure out who you are, and just roll with the punches, you know. And that's what I do in everything. And I may be a little slower getting there, but I enjoy the process these days, and I enjoy creating more to the story, not embellishing the story, but connecting and really pulling that person's lifestyle out through their social media, or through whatever I'm producing, their logo, their anything that we're producing for them at the time. And doing that is all experience and thankfulness for those shows that did give us an opportunity to be on there, and to be in front of a whole demographic of people that I've never been around before. I'm used to being around cowboys and cowgirls and just shooting straight, you know what I mean? You say, hey, I don't like that, or I don't like this. These people, they didn't have that. They were trying to create something out of something that was already done. And you do have to remember your uniqueness when it comes to media. And you have to remember and remind yourself that, you know, God didn't create you for anybody else. he created you for you, and he created you ultimately for him, and to live your life accordingly to how he wants you to, you know, to leak out that ray of light to other people, and to plant seeds in that way, not for self gain or for quick, oh yeah, I was on this show and they put sticks in my hair and I let them. I did not. I promise you I didn't. I said, no, that's too far, you know. And then I did get to do, I'm actually, and I don't know if this still holds, I'll have to call, but we got to work with Medieval Times on a few occasions at Rose Parade and in Dallas, and I got to joust, and they said I'm the only woman that ever joust in the Dallas arena. I don't know if that's still true today, but they did admire that of all the girls, you know, everybody. We were in a whole different element of what our horse riding was, but as far as when the cameras were on, we never changed that. If I didn't know what a random, I couldn't even tell you right now, like some of the things that they were doing with their horses, it's really incredible. But I couldn't do that with my horses, but I didn't try, you know. I said, hey, look, you're good at what you do, I'm good at what I do. We're just going to roll with it and go here. And that's one thing that I've kept with me my whole life, and really with anything that I do, and the accomplishments that we've done and created and made, they're wonderful memories. And they're even better because it's really the rawness of who we were and who we are.
Oh, Sadie, so good. And you, we were talking before we started recording just about how, you know, life is just fast and furious, but we're super grateful for it. But, you know, we could deem, you know, yours and mine as well, falling into that unconventional lifestyle. It's not just a regular 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, the jobs we have. And I mean, I'm in corporate America, and you're an entrepreneur, and you're married to a bullfighter. And so, I mean, we have very different things that we're doing, but still they don't fall under that conventional umbrella. And I think one of the biggest maybe challenges out there is whether you choose to work somewhere 8 to 5 and that's your jam, or if you're trying to step out and do what you feel like you're really called to do, is how you deal with people not understanding, and really, like, sometimes those people are in your immediate circle. Even, like, what advice do you have for anybody listening that maybe is just struggling with really embracing where they're at because they feel like those that are closest to them maybe are, you know, not being supportive or not understanding?
Well, you said it first, so I didn't have to. I am married to a bullfighter, so our life is the farthest thing from conventional, unconventional, whatever. And I love that. I always knew my whole life, for whatever reason, I knew that I would never be normal. I knew that that life wasn't for me. And if I had a penny for every time that was told to me, I'd have a lot of pennies. And they'd say, well, what are you going to do when you get older? Or what are you going to do when this goes, you know, you can't trick ride anymore? Or they were already limiting me when I was 15, 16, 23 years old, and saying, well, you know, what are you going to do afterwards? Well, I don't know. And that was honest. I didn't know. And I still don't know. But I know that age is only a number. And if I continue to be passionate about what I do, I don't think I'll ever quit this life. I've tried to have a 9 to 5. It wasn't that I was lazy. It just, I couldn't do it. I can't sit inside that long, for one. I like being outside. My husband, I moved down here. He had a bull ranch, a bucking bull ranch down here already. And that was also something that I did on the side while I was trick riding. And it was perfect for me, because I'm like, oh my gosh, horses and bulls, this is my life. But, you know, everyone out there is going to tell you what they think. And that's okay, because everyone is entitled and has a right to their opinion, no doubt. But like I said, don't conform to the world. Don't change your heart to fit in. I can tell you out of everybody, I'm the black sheep everywhere I go. And I enjoy that because I am my own person. I have my own, I don't go with the plan. I like kind of going with the flow because you never know who you're going to meet when you walk into the gas station. I mean, just a gas station, I've had a serious talk with somebody that I probably will never see again. But, you know, staying in this lifestyle and continuing to rodeo and have horses at 28 years old is something that everybody's like, oh, your trick riding career is about done. It's like, oh man, don't limit my life just because you limit your own life. And I continue to tell people that it's like, you know, if you're passionate about something, continue to do it for as long as you can and for as long as you want to. When you don't enjoy something, now I can imagine you'd be like, oh yeah, I guess I can stop now. But when you love something and you are in this life like we are, it just doesn't, you don't get tired of it. And you continue to find more ways to dig your hands in deeper and to find more common friends around you. Because you said it too. Most people that are going to tell you those things like, oh, you can't do it forever, they're the ones closest to you. And they're the ones that are trying to get you to stop because they're wanting to stop. And so it'll feel better for them if you stop too. and that's not how life goes, you know, and that may be their road and that's fine, but you have to be just as solid in your own mindset and your own road, your own connection with God, that what you set your mind to, you follow through to till you cannot anymore. And that may be when you're 80 years old, maybe when you're 30, I don't know. But at the end of the day, if I listened to everybody around me, I would have never stepped foot on another horse by 22 years old. And the last 6 years of my life would have been just miserable. You know, and you can't listen to, you listen always, you know, always take in advice and continue to love everybody around you. But know that everyone's season, everyone's road is different and everyone is in a different season at the same time. You know, I may be going down a road that you went down 2 months ago, but I'm in that season right now. And you got to love me through it like I'm going to love you through it. And it's about iron sharpening iron and just, man, not giving up. At the end of the day, if we all gave up, then we couldn't get out of bed in the morning because it would never be good enough. But you got to try, you got to focus on what your passion is, not everybody else is around you. It doesn't mean you can't have those people as friends. It just, you have to renew your mind constantly. And if that's daily, it's daily for me. It has to be. I know if my mind isn't in the word every day, I can get lazy and I can fall short of the glory. I can fall short of what I've set my goals for that day or that week. And it's a daily dedication that you have to put yourself in. It's a discipline. And like I said, just renewing your mind and reminding yourself, you know, why you started and to not stop your feet because the people around you are stopping their feet. Continue to grow and continue to pray about guiding yourself and just moving forward. Because like I said, if I would have stopped 6 years ago, I would have been the most miserable person you ever wanted to be around. And everyone around me was telling me to stop where I was at, that part of my life was over with. But and they were right. That season was over, but God was putting me into a new season. And sometimes when you get into that, you know, done with one season and he does open another door, it's hard to go through that door because you're like, well, what if I need to go this way? Well, it's okay. That door will continue to be open if it's the one for you. And it's not, God's not going to miss us. He's not going to misjudge our steps. He's going to guide us where even if we take the wrong door 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times, he's going to forgive us and continue to put that door in front of us and say, okay, Sadie, it's time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, don't, you keep going this way, but it's time to move this way. I mean, there's no doubt you're going to get where you're going, but you got to stay faithful with yourself, and you got to stay dedicated.
You've always
and don't be discouraged.
Oh yeah. You've always had just a positive outlook and like, hey, there's room here for everybody, you know, just an infinite mindset. And what a gift that is to the people around you. And I'm wondering, Sadie, you know, is there anything that you're reading or listening to currently that you feel like has really helped you stay, you know, sharp, that iron sharpens iron type of deal?
First is my husband, because he is a huge leader in my life, and he is one that doesn't talk a lot about it. He is one that is about it. He works with his footsteps and his hands, and he continues to show me things in my life by just his actions. And so that is for sure number one. But also Tim's story, and he actually got me onto Tim's story. It's he's got a church in Southern California. I think it's called the Congregation Church, and he's got some amazing sermons that I've listened to some from 20 years ago, just because I can't get enough of his word and his wisdom, and I do enjoy hearing what he has to say. And he's a believer in God and Jesus, and not everybody believes in Jesus, and that's okay. But he tells it like it is, and in a way that for a religious man or woman or not, it makes sense, and it makes you think about it. And not that I've never been a believer in Jesus by any means, but I always knew God was there. I just never knew he was truly there for me. And, you know, listening to him, he's really guided my steps just as an individual. And man, he's real. Actually the service this morning was amazing. I'll have to send it to you later, and I'll post it on this deal once you post it. But if anybody does want to hear it, but I'm telling you, the things that he says are incredible. He fact checks it with the Bible. I mean, everything he does. But definitely Tim's story, Congregation Church, is my go-to right now. Joyce Myers is another one, Sadie Robertson. There's just to name a few. But I guess I'm getting old, Dakota. Instead of listening to all this music, I've just drowned myself in podcasts, and I enjoy listening to the word. I enjoy listening to the life of what people really have going on, and how they made themselves better. And like I said, it goes back to renewing of your mind and keeping your mind, body, and soul full of God's word, and continue to just love yourself for who you are, not change yourself. And they've definitely helped me with that.
Oh, I'm a podcast junkie too. And I feel like it didn't happen until a couple of years ago, but
right.
Yeah, I love them. And hey, they're free. Just like this one. Anybody listening,
Yeah.
tell your friends, tell everybody it's free.
They are.
Yeah, they're great, and just a way to continue to expand, you know, your mindset and everything. Sadie, I have so enjoyed getting to catch up with you. Thank you for taking time to just share. I'm not going to say your whole story, because I mean, girl, it was bits and pieces, but you are just an incredible person. I'm thankful to call you my friend, and one heck of a cowgirl. So what does the phrase cowgirl state of mind, what does that mean to you? We're going to end this. I don't know how we ended on a higher note than what we've been on the whole time, but we're about to do that.
We'll see. No, cowgirl state of mind, to me, there are a lot of girls that say they're cowgirls, okay, which is awesome. But having the state of mind of a cowgirl is on a whole nother level. And you got to be tough, mind, body, and soul, because you're going to get bucked or kicked or stomped in life, mentally, physically. But man, it's just about being yourself at all times, and knowing you're going to make a mistake and just continue to trudge through the mud, because man, it'll be worth it at the end. And it always is. But you'll have blowouts on the way. You're going to have lights go out on your truck and trailer, and you're not going to know how to do it because there's not a cowboy around at the time. And you're just going to have to learn how to do some things, and you're not going to want to back up the trailer in a certain hole or this and that. But it's just about following through and having that grit and determination to just to be the cowgirl that you've been talking about being. That's it right there.
Oh, amen, girl. So good. Be the cowgirl you've been talking about being. That's it, you know. I love that. Sadie, thank you so much. I'll make sure and put in the show notes how everybody can connect with you. And I'll be praying for you, girl. I know we're on the home stretch with these babies, and they'll be here before long. So
let's mom together, Coda. I'm ready.
All right. We'll do it. Take care, girl.
Thank you, Dakota. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for spending your time with me on the Cowgirl Confessions podcast. I'm so glad y'all stopped by. If you could take a moment to share this episode and tag us on social media, I'd be happier than a cowgirl in a sea of buy one, get one vintage turquoise. Subscribe to make sure you don't miss an episode. New episodes will be released bi-monthly. Please leave us a review if you feel so led by going to iTunes. Your feedback will really help us breed the idea of grabbing life by the horns with a cowgirl state of mind into women across the globe. Some that may have never even had the privilege to throw their leg over a horse, but could most certainly use the cowgirl state of mind while navigating life. Thanks again, y'all. Until next time, keep pursuing your dreams with that all go and no woe mentality. Remember, you're writing a story that's worth saddling up for, sister.